This is Dr. Andrew Jones. In this edition of Veterinary Secrets, we're going to be discussing bones. Are they good for dogs, not good for dogs, and should your dog be eating them? Should you or should you not be giving your dog bones? Well, in my opinion, you should, and I do. There are a number of different benefits that can come from feeding your dog's bones. To begin with, one of the big obvious ones is it's great for oral health. It's great for stimulating the saliva glands to produce saliva. And in doing so, it'll help remove food and food particles from your dog's mouth, especially after he's eaten. It also works really well to get nice whiter teeth. No question, in practice, when I was to see the dogs that were in eating bones, those dogs typically had pretty good teeth, minimal plaque and tartar, especially the dogs that were regularly chewing on them. And Lewis is one. He's never had a veterinary dental in his life. Some pretty good teeth. One, if you actually chew the bones that are edible, such as the chicken or turkey necks, the ones that are crunchy, you can get some nutrients from that, obviously primarily calcium, but you can also get some nutrients just from the cartilage. We talk about you supplementing your dogs with glucosamine, chondroitin, especially our dogs with arthritis. What do you think is in this cartilage here? That's what it is. So he's getting those nutrients as well when he's consuming some of those. And then lastly, the behavioral issues. And if they've got something to stimulate themselves, then we see less behavioral issues. So we see less issues such as lick granulomas, where they're chronically licking an area of their skin. Or we may see less issues relating to separation anxiety. So for just those big reasons themselves, there's some pretty positive reasons to be feeding your dog's bones. But not everyone agrees it's a good idea to feed bones. Some people think it's okay to give dogs large bones to chew on, says Carmela Stamper, a veterinarian in the Center for Veterinary Medicine at the FDA. But giving your dog a bone might lead to an unexpected trip to your veterinarian, a possible emergency surgery, or even death for your pet. The FDA has received about 35 reports of pet illness related to bone treats and 7 reports of product problems. The reports sent in by pet owners and veterinarians involve about 45 dogs. But consider this. In 2015, Animal Poison Control had 45,816 calls involving prescription and over-the-counter drugs such as painkillers, cold medications, antidepressants, and supplements. At least 1,600 pet deaths related to spot-on treatments with pyrethroids were reported to the EPA over the last 5 years, according to an analysis of EPA pesticide incident reports. First of all, you want to make sure that the bones are raw. This is a big raw femur bone here, not cooked. The big issue there is when you cook a bone, you make it far more brittle, far more likely for it to splinter off. And the bulk of the issues from eating bones come with that. We have either bones that are too small, too small a bone for a large-sized dog, so it's not the appropriate size bone. So your dog can crunch that entire bone whole, leading to issues such as perforations, obstructions, constipation, obstipation. Or we've got a bone that's been cooked. And you can take this femur bone, you can cook it well, much more likely for it to splinter off into small sections, and then you run into issues. So in doing so, if you're feeding bones, you're making sure that they're raw, preferably frozen initially, then partly defrosted and then fed to your dog. The first thing is appropriate sized pieces. This is a big femur bone. He has no chance to break it off into small chunks, leading to obstructions, perforations, etc. I want you to avoid things like these. Here, this could be part of a cow, could be part of the vertebrae, but little sections have been cut up in pieces, have been sliced with a meat grinder. It's got these sharp edges. First of all, this is something Lewis can completely ingest whole, and the sharp edges themselves can lead to additional problems, easily leading to something like a perforation. So you're going to avoid these cut bones. You're going to go with these big entire bones. Freeze the raw bones first, slightly defrost them, then give them to your dog. So just the slightly defrosted raw bone is the safest way to be feeding. By doing it that way, you're limiting the chance of secondary bacterial contamination. The big long bones themselves, especially the ones that are fresh, can contain a lot of marrow. That can lead to a couple of issues. One, it's very fatty, so it's a high source of calories. But even more so, I've seen many a dog eat a whole bunch of that marrow and then lead to serious gastrointestinal upset. So we're looking at vomiting, diarrhea. So just be cautious of that. If your dog's never had a raw bone before and he gets access to that marrow, a little bit at a time, so you don't have a deal with a whole bunch of vomiting and diarrhea. Last point I want to make is about the aggressive chewers. If you've got a dog that just tries to crunch into every single bone, even a big long bone like this, you've got your lab, he's got a much higher chance of then breaking a tooth. And that's the last thing you want, because what can then happen, I want to just show you Lewis's mouth here, but he doesn't want me he doesn't want to show it off today, because then you can be leading to veterinary dental costs and expenses and just pain for your dog. So your dog, if he's one of those, he may not be suited for chewing bones. Goodbye, Lewis. But I said for the most dogs, they can, and especially get a big enough bone that he can't just crunch right into, you're not going to lead to any problems. Have I seen problems in veterinary practice? Yes, I have. Fortunately, in all my years of veterinary practice, I saw one dog who had a serious issue relating to feeding bones. Most of the issues I did see were less serious. Primarily they're dental. So you get these big aggressive chewers. Typically they're chewing on a cook bone and they crunch right into it and they fractured some of their teeth, leading to needing dental care. But if you follow the steps that I just suggested, I think you can safely feed bones to your dogs with no issues and a whole bunch of health benefits. So thanks for watching this edition of Veterinary Secrets on how to start feeding bones to your dogs. What I want you to do now is a couple things. First, click that link in the box above if you've yet to do so. Subscribe to my channel. Then after you've done that, you can go ahead and click that link in the box below, and I can send you my free books and videos on how to heal your pets at home with my top natural remedies.